Well, it's good to see you. I know we got some wonderful topics to kind of explore today. And
Yeah, and for anybody that's stumbled across this video, we have our TV show we're working on called Past but Present, which is
oh,
in production, and we're going to save that to the end because I know that people that might have clicked on this video want to get into the topic, which is UFOs and aliens. Because if you've been paying attention to the news lately, there's been a lot of conversation about UFOs and alien sightings, especially UFO craft sightings in the news, mainstream news, which has seemed to really ramp up in the last year. And why is this happening? I don't know. But maybe we can kind of look at this together and look at some of these stories that have been popping up. And then how can we look at that from a spiritual side? Because, you're an evidential medium and you have ways of looking at things differently from other people, like myself. Um, so I kind of wanted to pick your brain on some of these stories, and I don't know if you want to just get into it. Like
just go ahead. Let's just start.
look at a
I
clip.
do have an interest about ETs or UFOs or star beings or whatever the terminology. There's so many different things that are being thrown out there. So yeah, let's talk about it.
I'm going to show you the trailer for this documentary. This is a movie called Moment of Contact. It came out in 2022, so it's really new. And I watched it, and it's pretty convincing. And here we go.
In 1996, the people of Varginha, Brazil, witnessed a UFO event that would change their lives forever.
Só que ele planava, ia perdendo lentamente a altitude e ia caminhando.
Call it another Roswell, if you will. That is a crashed vehicle that had beings on board.
Mas que eles não poderiam admitir a verdade, a população ia entrar em colapso.
Nada temos a esconder.
Finally, the facts will be revealed.
The Virginia case is considered the most well-kept secret in the military circles of Brazil.
My objective here is to put some clarity on what took place in Varginha, Brazil, January 1996.
Dois seres extraterrestres foram capturados, depois, posteriormente, foram levados para o hospital.
The witnesses are some of the most compelling testimony I've ever heard.
Meu nome é Carlos de Souza.
Meu nome é Cátia Xavier.
Meu nome é Liliane Silva.
Meu nome é Valquíria Silva.
Em 1996, eu vi uma criatura estranha ali.
Action! A lot of people in this town have a little piece of the puzzle.
Naquele local, eu vi o rastro da criatura, o pé.
Foi onde ele falou que eu vi era uma coisa sobrenatural.
This year,
Mark Elixerez, he had captured this creature with his bare hands.
Você confirma que o seu irmão estava de serviço naquele dia 20?
Confirmo.
Okay, so that was the trailer for Moment of Contact. Pretty good trailer, I think, for, it's a documentary. It's not a Hollywood film. It's not a big budget, but it's so good because the content is really good. And I heard an interview with the director, James Fox, on a podcast, and it was a long podcast. So he really got to talk about the movie, and you could tell he was very genuine about the work. And this isn't staged. This isn't a big scam. He went and interviewed hundreds of residents of this town, a small town in Brazil, from a UFO crash in 96. And everybody had the same story. And they even have buildings and statues dedicated to this UFO sighting that are built in the town, which is really cool. That's there. And so apparently a UFO crashed there in 96, and these three girls saw the alien. And I think one was dead, and they took it and somebody grabbed the alien and took it to a hospital. And that's where they may or may not have done some x-rays on the body of the alien. But the US, apparently, according to the movie, came and took the alien body and then was never seen or heard from again. And that's the big secret. That's the big, maybe a conspiracy. So pretty wild documentary. Anybody that's interested in this kind of stuff should check it out, because it's a great little film.
What I love about, this topic, and I got to dig into this. I have not watched this film, so I need to watch it, this documentary. But it's opening our minds to the possibilities. Now, I grew up in a time, I'm a product of the 60s and the 70s. I grew up in a time where when you talked about ETs or you talked about UFOs, it was like you were creepy and scary and, you'd run, they were going to beam you up. And there was all this hysteria that went around it. Jump forward here to 2023. What I have been watching on television are little glimpses along the way here, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, of what like the news has been picking up in the last year, is kind of normalizing it a little bit. I don't know if it's maybe me, but all of you that are listening to this, you may have a spin on this that's different than Robert's or mine. We'd love to hear it. Doesn't mean that I'm right or wrong, or either Robert is, but what a topic. I mean, what if we're not alone?
I agree that it is being normalized to at least in culture, in pop culture and TV right now. I'm sure our audience has heard this a million times by now, but the universe is so large, so vast. In our galaxy alone, there's billions of stars. Since I was born, we always thought there was, the solar system was 9 planets. I mean, that is true. We have our own solar system, but every star you see in the sky at night has its own planets around it now. We know this. It's been proven. And there's billions of those stars, so that there's countless amounts of worlds out there that are, obviously we can't see what's on them yet because it's too far away. They're millions of light years away. So our cameras, if there was a city on a planet out in the distant, 100 light years away, it would take 100 years at light speed for the light to travel to reach us. And by that time, that civilization could be gone. Who knows? But there's other ways of looking at this. How could these UFOs get here? And that could be through some other method that we can't comprehend yet, because our technology has only been in development for 100 years, or maybe a little bit more than that. But since we've had the Industrial Revolution and technology, and we've only had the internet for a couple decades, what if there's advanced civilizations out there in this vast universe that have 1 million years of technology advancements, and they are able to travel through wormholes or other things that we don't understand yet? Because we know light speed you can't go any faster than that. So a physical spaceship traveling through space at light speed is going to take a certain amount of time to get here. But if they knew how to bend space and time or use wormholes, then yeah, sure, they can get here. And we haven't discovered that yet, but that's not to say that somebody else hasn't.
Well, I love how you just used the word bending time and wormholes. And I know there are, stories out there. There is my little teeny mind gets stuck on the Bermuda Triangle, the area that when ships or planes or people go into, they just disappear. Now, I know that could be a topic in itself, but that's where I go to. That's how limited I am. And I use myself as an example, as I think most of society, and I'm talking globally, not just here in Washington State at the base of Mount Rainier, but I'm talking, everyone, is that our mind can't even grasp the possibility that there are other universes out there. There are other individuals, people, beings that are existing. They're probably more intelligent than us, or maybe not. I don't know. But I just think it's wonderful to open our minds to that possibility.
And that's why I wanted to talk about it with you on this forum, because you're evidential medium. Have you ever, when sitting in the power or in a reading, ever had any kind of situation where this topic would have come through in that space, from a spiritual point of view? Have you ever got a communication from somewhere else, or acknowledgement by a spirit guide that there is extraterrestrial life out there?
That's a great question. I've never had anyone ask me it in that way. I would say probably about 20 years ago, when I was starting out understanding more about energy and my abilities, I really started focusing a lot on regression. And what that means is I was interested in past lives. Does reincarnation exist? And when I started to work with that, I had a partner one time that we were partnered with, and she went back to a time and a place that the only way that I can explain it to anybody is that it was the Ice Age. And then she went even further back to a place that I had no concept in what it was. Now, I know that this woman was deeply entranced, and I know that her higher self and her information was coming through. Now, there are some variables with that I really don't know, like her mindset, her mental, physical. But that was my first experience. And so I was very naive to it. And I gotta tell you guys, I was kind of scared because I was like, what if she doesn't come out of this? And what if she stays in this position or this place? She didn't. She came out of it and could remember some of it. And it was very emotional for her. But to answer your question, Robert, as a evidential medium and touching the unseen world of those that have walked this earth to hear their stories, I work a lot with our guides, our teachers, our helpers, our healers, those that have a higher understanding of why we're here, why our soul has chosen to come here. And there has been times that I've received information. I have no idea who I'm getting it from, other than I know it's not coming from me. So I just want to set that piece there. Now, am I getting it from another planet? Honestly, I don't know. There are times that I will ask, like, can I ask, who is this and what do I need to know? And I have learned in doing this that they will only tell us what we need, not what we want. We're only going to get what we need. So as a medium and someone comes to us and says, please bring my husband through, bring my brother through, bring the ET that was in Brazil through, we have no control over that. However, by setting the intention and putting it in a place that we're here for the higher good, we will start to receive information. So I just kind of set it at that my work is primarily with those that I know that have walked this earth, but I have received information that made me go, really, who is this and where is it coming from? And the one thing, Robert, that I want to hold on to with this is that not imagination, but the knowledge, the wisdom, the depth of the inspiration that I get is it's far beyond what I understand in my world. So is that, a UFO? It doesn't feel scary. It doesn't feel like it has a larger head than me, or it's skinnier than me, or has long dangling hands or big bulging eyes. It always is very loving. So is our spirit beings who I'm connecting with that are ETs? I wouldn't walk away from saying no to that at all.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless. And when we think about our version of the spirit world, or AKA heaven, or whatever else you want to call it, the afterlife, is that a place just for humans on Earth? Or are there beings that lived on other planets all over the universe that also occupy this spirit world? And will it all just make sense when we get there? I'm sure it will. But there's just so many, it's just so fun to think about, like, what is all this? It's like, so yeah, could there have been a race of human beings on some planet in a completely different galaxy on the other side of the universe that came and went, and their souls live in the spirit world that we also go to, or is this something different? So I don't know. But it's fun to think about.
I think to answer what I feel comfortable saying is, I don't think we're going to completely understand until we all are reunited. And I feel strong about that. And you can call it the afterlife or heaven or nirvana, the divine, wherever that's going to be. But it's just, I think it's our mind that we limit ourselves. But also, and this is, another topic, and, I'll throw it out there, and I'd love to hear anybody else's thoughts on this. is working, spiritually with what I'm going to refer to as the divine, that has given me my abilities to hear, see, smell, taste, and have a complete understanding of what those that are no longer alive to know. That's what I'm going to title a medium. We have what I understand to be called amnesia. Now, there's probably a better word, a more medical term, but we don't remember. We have an amnesia of where we came from. So did we walk amongst, these ETs, or were we them, and we have chosen this physical body to look like this, to look different? What if?
I think amnesia is the perfect word for it. And it reminds me of an author that his name is Graham Hancock. And I don't know if you've heard of him, but
no, I haven't.
He has a bunch of books about lost civilizations, and that the human species has a case of amnesia because we don't remember where we come from. And that goes back to what you were just saying a few minutes ago about the Ice Age, because if you look, well, Graham Hancock's books are all about when the Ice Age ended. His theory is because of a comet or a meteor that hit Earth, and it was like an extinction level event. It made the ice caps, or the ice sheet that was over North America during the Ice Age, completely melt and cause all this crazy floods.
Wow.
And the Ice Age ended, roughly, like, I don't know the exact years, but 12,500 years ago or something around that area. And when the Ice Age ended, there was extreme amounts of flooding and water, which can be seen religious texts like, Noah's Ark and the Deluge, the Great Floods. It's been written about in so many religious books from thousands of years ago. They all talk about this great flood. But the point is that Graham Hancock wrote these books saying, well, what if prior to this extinction event, human beings became already technologically advanced civilization, and then this extinction event happened, where we're wiped out to basically less than 1,000 people left on Earth, and they became hunter-gatherers and restarted society from the beginning, because everything was wiped out. So to put it in perspective, if you left your car in the woods for 50 years, you come back, it's like a rusted out, piece of garbage, almost completely gone. So all the technological stuff that would have existed prior to the Ice Age would be completely gone by now. Only thing that survives is stone. We have these pyramids and these stone structures around the world that actually kind of have clues that they could be pointing to a story that was before the Ice Age. But let's get back to the UFO topic. And I wanted to show you another video that happened just last month in Las Vegas.
Yes. I've heard about this, so I'd like to hear it. Let's talk about it.
So I'm going to play the video, and then anybody watching, if they haven't seen it yet, they can see this news clip that came from Vegas.
As with all things UFO, the public debate is ferocious and ongoing. Was it all a hoax? Were we duped? Was it all an evil plot, a cover-up, all of the above? We took another look at the hubbub to separate wheat from chaff. The fireball captured on a police body cam on the night of April 30th was real. The American Meteor Society says witnesses reported seeing it all across the West, from northeastern Utah to Southern California. Another Las Vegas resident sent us a video of the same object recorded on her home camera.
Investigation by Nexstar station KLAS.
As the story of the Las Vegas incident spread across newscasts and social media, one of NASA's planetary defense officers weighed in to say it was likely a small meteor that fell to Earth hundreds of miles away from Las Vegas. Police videos obtained by 8 News Now indicate Metro officers were among the witnesses.
One of my partners said said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious.
The appearance of the meteor seemingly triggered the events that followed. A frightened family called 911 and told police they had 10-foot-tall alien beings in their backyard. Officers responded to the home minutes later, interviewed the witnesses, canvassed the area, and cautiously inspected the backyard to look for intruders. One thing noticed by the officers was a circle in the soil. In conversations with us and in a podcast interview, Angel, the main witness, suggested the circle might have been created when an unknown object landed in the yard. Social media sleuths have since pointed out that the circular image has been viewable via Google Earth for more than a year. The family told us by phone.
So actually, that video I hadn't seen yet because I saw the original report, and it's interesting that they're investigating it now as a hoax. So I don't know what I think about that anymore. What do you think? What do you believe?
Well, my logical mind, not my spiritual mind, my logical mind jumps to, I want to see more about these, these 10-foot beings in their backyard. The lights, you know what, that was picked up. Could it be a meteor? It could be. Could it be a flare? Possibly. Could it be a UFO? Possibly. But I want to know more about the backyard and why we haven't heard anything about that. And what time of the day was this? And I feel like needs to be a little bit more. First thing I get a feeling, okay, you go ahead. I got to say something as soon, because I just got like a bit.
Go ahead.
So I don't know if you guys remember, but this is maybe 10, probably 20, maybe 15 years ago. Do you guys remember the balloon boy?
Yeah.
That this man, and if you don't, in brevity with this is there was a father that had fixed something with his son attached to a balloon, and it took off, and the little boy was still attached to the balloon, and he chases this balloon for miles and miles and miles. And, we're all glued to our TV wondering where this balloon and this little boy is going to fall to earth. Now, I could be getting the details incorrect here. Anyway, when it was all said and done, it was like this man and his wife wanted to be on social media. That was their kind of, I think that was even before Instagram or before TikToks, and they were trying to get their name in the news. And if I'm correct, I think they had also done something else prior to that.
Yeah.
But as we're talking about this, in my mind, you guys, not outside of me, I don't see anything, but it's in my mind. I got a flash of that. I know that was fraud. I know that was fake. So is that my consciousness, my subconsciousness telling me this is fake too? I don't know. I want to explore that a little bit more, but I'd like to hear what you think about it, what you think about that clip that we just saw, Robert.
My gut feeling, which is I trust, is it's totally, they took an opportunity. It was probably a meteor and everybody saw it. So that's true. But these people may have just taken an opportunity to call it in for a social media type of prank. Because how come they don't? Okay, so you have a phone in your hand. Everybody's phone has a camera on it. You were able to call 911 and calmly report there's a 10-foot tall alien in your backyard, but you didn't take a picture or a video or
take a selfie. I mean, we're all into selfies. Who wouldn't have taken a selfie with the alien? I would have.
There was a comedian I was listening to the other day. He said, these alien crafts, they have futuristic technology. They're able to go light years away or travel through wormholes, but they can't seem to stop crashing. Like, why can't they? But then where's the debris? They crashed, and then there's all this footage of the yard, and it looks totally fine. Those circles in the yard obviously have been debunked because they were on Google Earth from 20 days or how many months prior. So that obviously has all been debunked. The only thing that hasn't been debunked is the witness's story that there was beings in their yard, but it's just their word. And why should we trust them? So yeah.
What's their motive? What's their intention? I mean, are they looking for, like Balloon Man or Balloon Boy did, that you're looking to become known? Everybody wants their 15 minutes. Is that what they're looking for here?
Well, there's so many motives that I can think of, and it could be someone paid them to do this for some other weird motive. Because they want to, like the reporter said in that video, that there was, you know, they were accused of doing a story to distract from another story. And, you know, until an alien lands in my yard and I see it with my own eyes, or I turn on the TV and every live news outlet is showing that door open up, or like in Close Encounters of the Third Kind,
Right.
you know, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. It's fun to think about it, and it's really cool that there's all these videos coming up of flying objects and no one can account for. And one of my cousin-in-law was, and I won't name him, but he is a fighter. He's a retired Navy fighter jet pilot. He's an actual Top Gun pilot. And
Cool.
I asked him, you know, Top Gun, like Tom Cruise, like this is the real Top Gun guy, one of them. And I asked him, you know, what he thought about it. And he's like, yeah, we see those things, but nobody knows what they are. Now, is he just telling me that because he's been sworn to secrecy? Or is it just that, like, hey, we don't know what these things are, but they're out there? Is it advanced technology from another country? Is it our own advanced technology, maybe from the private sector, that even the government doesn't understand yet or know about? Is it real UFOs? You know, who knows at this point?
One thing that I just want to add this piece is that, you know, working as a medium, that the beings that I work with, you know, this higher intelligence, they are loving. They are not harmful or hurtful. They want to let us know where we're at is temporary, to focus on our happiness and our growth. And now, if that is true, if what I trust and what I've been doing is authentic and real, and then we're going to bring in the UFOs and the aliens, and they're not allowing us to also feel that love and that compassion and that healing, I don't know. That's where my mind, my spiritual mind goes, I don't know. I just feel like I would, not just myself, but I just feel like we as an earth would know that this is a loving source, instead of it being scary or elusive or string bean looking. I don't know. That's maybe it's my mind playing with that.
Well, that's a good point. So then you can say that, yeah, that's not, these beings are obviously not the physical form of guides or anybody in the spirit world that we've been, you know, communicating with. It's something else, if it's real at all. I mean, I'm still on the fence if it's real at all. I mean, I think that first documentary that I showed you the clip for is very compelling and makes a lot of sense, but what if all that's a hoax? I don't know.
What if it is? There was an amazing movie that came out, I believe, a couple years ago. We'll have the name of it at the bottom of the YouTube here, because the name of the movie is leaving me. It's one word. I think it's Watched. But it has to do with this brother and sister that are in abandoned, or not an abandoned, but in a house that their family had, and they want to keep the ownership of this ranch, this farm that has horses, and an alien force comes in. So I almost have to stop here at this point because I don't know the name of it. I almost have to research the name of it, but it's a really good movie. That when it was over with, there was some theatrics to it, but wow, what about the possibilities of this being real? So we'll include the name of it. If anybody's watched it, I'd love to hear what you thought, because I felt loving force with it. And then all of a sudden everything turned, and it was because of how the media was attacking it. I don't know, but I'd love to hear people's view on that.
The final clip I had saved here was a story about a whistleblower who was supposedly from the U.S. intelligence community named David Grush. Have you heard of him? Have you heard of this story?
You know what? In a way, I want to say yes, but I don't completely think I'm not having no, just no.
Okay, I'm going to play this, and it's really cool because this guy, well, unless this is another scam or there's some kind of weird motive, this guy claims to be part of the government or used to be, and he's telling the public about UFOs. So let's just watch.
Other intelligence officials who have.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of
Well,
non-human?
naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to watch more of that, they can find it on YouTube. It was News Nation that posted this. They got an exclusive interview with this guy, David Grush. But he makes some pretty crazy claims, but there's no evidence to back it up whatsoever. It's just his word. So, you know, is that all a hoax, a setup? I don't know. But I think the real point is, like, I want to hear from mediums and people that sit in the power or trance mediums that communicate with the other side. Like, let's get some answers here. Why? Let's talk about it. Like, give us some insight. Are we, and I've heard, yeah, are we alone? I've heard people say, yeah, that there's different planets that exist in the etheric world, not in the physical world. You know, I want to hear some I want to hear some evidence. I want to see some evidence.
What I really like is there is a couple words that were just said in the hidden truth. And just kind of stopping with those words, the hidden truth. And if we are to really accept the fact that there is a truth, you know, that like this gentleman that's coming forward, I don't know what his motive is. We'll just set that to the side. I know we all want to know what that is and what he's going to benefit. Is he writing a book and who's he upset with and blah, blah, blah. But what if he is like, I'm going to be that whistleblower. I'm going to put my career, my family, everything to the side to prove this. But everybody's kind of whitewashing it away. And that's sort of a feeling I get with him is like, I think we need to listen to what he has to say. Now, coming from the world of touching the unknown, touching the other side, is I far believe there are beings and guides and teachers and helpers, our ancestors, those that have walked this earth, but there are people that have not touched, when I say people, beings that have walked this earth that want us to communicate with them. And all we have to do is set the intention. I would like to know more. And so, Robert, to answer your question, you know, I'd like to kind of take that on and maybe reach out to some of my peers and say, let's set, you know, collectively, let's set the intention that we would like to receive some information from those that are titled UFOs or unidentified, or as whatever word we want to use here, and just see what we gather from them. How do you feel about that, Robert? Maybe have a follow-up on this?
Yeah, I think that'd be a great project to take.
Yeah.
Yeah, and document that and come back and, yeah, tell us what you've learned.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think it needs to be a group of people that have been vetted already, in the sense that, you know, you've been doing this work for a while. Not that you just woke up and you had a dream. So if any of you are out there and you have got this incredible story that you know that will parallel this, we of course would like to hear that. Go ahead and put that down below. We'll reach out to you. But I just think that there's a little bit more. We just need to pull the curtain back, no pun intended, if this is what we want to explore. But there's going to be a lot of naysayers. There's a lot of words that I want to bring this up, and I'd love to hear what other people think about this, because in the metaphysical world, there are all different types of titles or brands that they will put on people. Somebody that is sensitive or very empathic or compassionate, they'll call them like an indigo child or a star seed, or there's all rainbow children, crystal children. Honestly, I don't know the difference there, so I can't talk to each one of these different names. But are those titles or those brands are they being given to human beings that are far advanced in our human race?
Interesting. Yeah. Or old souls. If you, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah, and there's never going to be a right or wrong, because we all demand proof, because that's how our brain is set up in this physical world, is that we want the proof. If not, we're not going to believe it. And you know what, we may not have that truth. And that's why a lot of this is hidden, that our government, the governments, they don't share a lot of this stuff because there's some sort of fear out there.
Well, there was a book that I heard about this week called The Presidents and UFOs, A Secret History from FDR to Obama.
Really?
Yeah. It's on Amazon. Presidents and the Presidents and UFOs, A Secret History from FDR to Obama. And I had pulled this clip, coincidentally, about Obama saying a line. I'm just going to play it for you because it's pretty interesting to hear. Regardless of what your political preference, this is a U.S. president saying something about UFOs. So I'm going to show you that real quick.
When it comes to aliens, there's some things I just can't tell you on air.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved, their trajectory. I think that people still take seriously trying to investigate and figure out what that is.
So just for him to go on a mainstream talk show and acknowledge that he can't talk about UFOs publicly is interesting. Why can't you talk about it? Because if he knew that there weren't UFOs, he could have just said it. No, there's no such thing as UFOs. We have no evidence. And that's it. So why say I can't talk about it? Why?
You know what, that brings me to the parallel of the spirit world, is that people that aren't in a place that they completely understand, or they've had that experience of being touched by the spirit world, they're not going to believe until they've been with somebody that is authentic and ethical. And so using Obama as an example of something he can't talk about, because there are things out there that he I would assume understands that society is not ready to hear. But with the spirit world, we want everyone to know that you can communicate with your loved ones, that they're going to be communicating from a place of love and reassuring you that they're fine. So I'd love to hear that from the world of UFOs.
So you are an evidential medium. We work with evidence from the other side, and we are doing a TV show called Past But Present. We're going to go ahead and get out of the UFO talk now and just briefly talk about where we're at with our show, because we have this channel here called Past But Present, and it's really to let our people know that we're working on this series. It's right now it's a 6-part series where we go to different places around the country, and Jennifer uses her mediumship to read the land and get the stories of the people that were there in the past. It could have been 20 years before or 100 years before. We're really unlocking all these cool historical stories and then cross-referencing it with history, with real articles and publications that I find in the Library of Congress or wherever it may be, to validate the stories that we're getting out there. It's been an adventure, to say the least. The 6 episodes are complete, and we're working on the artwork now, and we're working on the last 2 voiceovers. So we're really getting close. And then we get into the whole distribution aspect. Yes. But I just wanted to go ahead and, tell, because we've been telling people to check back here at this channel to hear updates on the show. And that's the update. And if anyone wants to stick around, I'll play a clip or two from one of our shows.
Yeah, this is a great one. If you've ever had an interest in Casadega or Lilydale, we had an opportunity. Well, they brought me to a place in Florida, northern Florida, and a mediumship community called Casadega. And you guys, wow. I know this is an old saying, but my socks rolled down. It was an incredible couple days there. Hearing from other mediums that had walked before me, but also to speak with those and listen to those that had been on the land prior to the community being established.
I do feel like people are gathering around here specifically. I've got a woman that's coming in, but I feel she's wanting us to go to the other side if there's a possibility that we can get over there.
To be in it when it was happening sometimes can be a little bit confusing to someone like me. It's like I'm not attached to it. I'm a little bit disassociated from it. You may pick that up from me. The environment was a little bit warm for me. And you'll also, as you watch through the different episodes, I'm very fast moving when I start to communicate. I get very frustrated easy. I get emotional easy. But that is the beauty of how this all works.
We were invited by Shane Gershevsky to he has a bed and breakfast in Casadega, and he's part of his community down there. And he really wanted me to bring you, Jen, to this place, but you didn't know where we were going. So all I did was have you come to Florida and get in a car and drive in a direction you didn't know where we were going. So it was a total surprise. I know you knew of Casadega, and I know you've all, would love to go there, but you didn't know you were there yet. So that's just for our viewers to understand that this was all a big surprise to Jen. And I'm going to play the clip from when you arrived in Casadega. At this point, you did not know where we were.
No, and my eyes were covered, you guys. And I was picked up at the airport. And so for about an hour and a half drive, I had no idea if I was going north, east, south, or west. I knew there was water somewhere, but I flew into Orlando. So yeah, my eyes were covered for about the last 30 minutes. So I'm excited to watch this again.
Oh my God, I feel like I want to cry. I was just told welcome home. Oh wow, I've got kids too. I've got just a bunch of kids that are running up. It's like they're holding hands and they're throwing like little daisies and stuff around on the ground. It's really cool. Wherever we're at, I am electric. I'm gonna start to cry. I feel very emotional where I'm at. We're in I'd call it almost a sacred place. Oh, I don't even want you to film me because I'm gonna start bawling. Where the fuck are we? I'm not upset, I'm just, I'm overwhelmed. I have not felt this ever in my life. Wherever I am at, I feel such, humble love is around me. I feel those that have walked here, who have been here, I feel like they're visiting. This is where I hang out. This is where I live. And thank you for coming here because we want you to be a part of us. We want you to enjoy. We're going to be celebrated. This is going to be fantastic. The kids, it's like they prepared some sort of parade for us to know that we are welcome.
Pretty powerful.
Yeah, that was a wave of emotion that came over me. It was hard to put it into words. You guys you have to watch this entire episode because there's another moment in this episode that by far left me speechless. So beautiful.
This episode was really, they've all been special in their own way. And this one was just, it was just incredible. Like the things, the stuff you said in the car was all, you didn't know where we were going. And
no, but there is a round lake right there. Just, in the backyard that you'll see.
We don't want to spoil it too much, but you guys that are watching right now you're our like core fans, and you deserve these little tidbits. But we don't want to give too much away. But everything you said in the car was validated, and it happens in the adventure we go, and it's all filmed with authenticity. We're not setting up trick cameras or doing anything with editing. It's just like, this is how it happened. And every time I watch it as I'm working on the project, I'm just so blown away. I just want to keep going and do more and do more. It's so fun.
Oh my gosh, so do I. I can remember exactly, I can almost hear the rocks underneath my feet when I stepped out of the car, how they rolled a little bit. And it's just like, it was magnificent. It was beautiful.
So for everybody that's interested in the show, we have our website, pastbutpresent.com, where you can right now go and pre-order the series. It's a donation. Those funds will help us produce this because there's costs for everything, travel, the artwork for the posters, the distribution fees. But yeah, there's a lot of hidden costs that people don't understand or don't know about. You know, and we're doing this ourselves, and we really wanted to go far, and we do this because we are passionate about it. It's what we like to do, what we love to do, and it's mediumship with travel and history. I mean, the combination is amazing. And we want to make more of these, and I think that not only will the viewer be entertained by this program, but they'll be inspired and they'll be comforted, because at the end of the day, what's the big message here? It's to show that there is life after death, and our loved ones can communicate with us through mediumship, and that's what really this aims to prove. You know, it's not just a running around in the woods with Jennifer Brazier. It's a big meaning here.
You know, the thing that I found in every location that we have been to, and really when I open myself to touch the unseen world, is that it's an adventure that every single person, every being, every animal that's walked this earth has a story. They have a legacy that they want to live on. And that's what we're doing with this film, is really allowing them to have that voice again. And I am thrilled to be a part of it. It's an unfoldment is what it really is. And quite frankly, the agenda that may be set up of the location or where we're going to be, it can turn on a dime if the spirit world wants us to explore something else. And that's what I love about this.
Yeah, because we've had those moments where you just go down a street, turn left instead of right, and then you get a whole storyline on the way we went.
Yeah.
And that happened a lot in St. Augustine, because we just walked around the streets, and we had a tour guide on that one, Alexi Burzon, and he thanked you at the end of the episode because you took him to places in town where he doesn't usually go because it's not part of his tourist program. And there was a lot of stories there, a lot of history. So he actually thanked you for taking him off the beaten path and go to these different areas that were very important in the history of the town, but may not have been, part of the mainstream history of the town where he took his, clients.
So what if, I always get the thank yous when in reality, it's just like, I am being open to receiving. What if the spirit world, those that know that, Lexi can benefit from knowing more history, took that opportunity? And that's what I kind of pushed it, all of you out there, is that it doesn't, your evidential medium isn't the go-to for everything. If we open ourselves up and allow that inner nudge to push us, that's where the exploration and the golden nuggets are revealed.
Well said. So I think we'll wrap it up here.
Yep.
And
a wonderful day, you guys. I can't wait to show more and look for some more information regarding the film coming out in just a couple weeks. We'll update you on something that we've been holding on to.
Yep, we're getting close, so stick around.
Yeah,
and some more of these fun YouTube videos coming up.